Good morning, and welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. It's, I think we had 2 weeks of fall, and now it's winter. It's bizarre. I came up from Orem over the point of the mountain, and I felt like I was entering a new dimension. I'm glad to see some visitors and members here this morning. You made your way out in the snow and came safely to be with us, thanks to the volunteers that made that possible. And I appreciate your efforts in joining us today. Thanks to all those tuning in online. This love stream that we do every Sunday, welcome. We're going to start our fantastic service today with a song by John Stringer. It's called You Are Welcome Here. Take those words to heart. You are welcome here. 1, 2,
Your light shine with so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that surrounds you, all that you know, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine with so much more when we unite. When we unite, yeah. When we unite, when we unite. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Good morning. That was for them, I'm pretty sure, not for me. We're so happy that you have joined us at the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Linda Brewer, and we are a spiritual community where All are welcome to join us in our love stream, and up to 30 of you are welcome to join us right here in person. We're so happy for those of you who braved the snow this morning to do that with us. Our practitioner holding high watch from home this morning is Jim Ferris. Throughout the service, Jim will be in prayer, knowing that the best and highest is unfolding as we share this sacred time together. Our prayer practitioner up here this morning is Farrell Zeman. Our center is a spiritual community that teaches a philosophy for daily living. It's based on spiritual principles and practices that are universal among religions. We honor every pathway by which people seek to know and connect with the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness so that we can help make the world a better place. So I invite you all to recommit to that and to our purpose by saying out loud our purpose statement. We are an open, welcoming community, celebrating our divinity, loving our humanity, and nurturing our journeys of spiritual discovery. Thank you. For all the latest information about what's happening at the center, or for any of you who are new and would like to know more about who we are, you can find out on our website, which is www.spirituallyfree.org. On our homepage, you can send us a prayer request, see what's coming up next Sunday. Elsewhere on the site, you can watch previous services, read about folks who you see up here, and also folks that you don't see up here but who make this place happen, and see what else is coming up in terms of our Sunday themes, so much more. So I hope you will check it out. I do promise you that, unlike many, our website does get updated regularly, so there's always something new. Our theme this month is Cosmic Connections, and we are so glad to welcome back our speaker this morning, Rabbi Alan Bachman. His topic will be Bridges That Last. Next week, I will be your speaker as we begin our November exploration of living as compassionate conduits. So that sounds like fun. For all the details about today's announcements and many more than we have time to get to, please visit the announcements page on the website. We keep that updated too, so you can see what's happening there. Yeah. Yes, thank you. So Theryl is reminding me that next week time changes and we fall back. So we move back in time. We get an extra hour of sleep.
Not too far.
We get no, we don't want to go back. We get an extra hour of sleep, which is really good, and then we'll be ready for what the following few days bring. So for this week, I want to let you know that the weekly Zoom chat that happens after the service is moving back to 1 o'clock, where it will stay. So this is a great chance to visit with folks, whoever shows up, interact with each other, get support, find out what's going on with you, and you get to do all that from the comfort and safety of your home. So if you haven't tuned into that before, I invite you to check that out. Also, I remind you, if you haven't done so, please fill out that ballot that every registered voter here in Utah was mailed. And online registration is now closed, but here in Utah, you can register right up to and through Election Day. As long as you have 2 forms of ID, all the polling places, you can register right there where you can vote. Early voting continues through this coming Friday. And then to find out where all the official ballot drop boxes are, which work great, I dropped mine in. And next day I was able to see online that my ballot has been received, which is another great thing we have here. But if you also want to find out, if you want to be an informed voter, find out more about the candidates, the judges, the amendments. There are several amendments on our ballot this year. Please go to vote.utah.gov. And if you forget that, we do have that link on the website. The Board of Trustees is scheduling our postponed annual meeting as a combination in-person live stream event after the service on November 15th. Just save the date and we'll give you more information as the time gets closer. And I want to remind you that we are now requiring everyone here in the building to wear your masks at all times while you're here. The only exceptions will be up here on stage, and then just as briefly as possible. As you notice, we just take them off when we get up here. Having everyone cooperate will hopefully allow us to stay open. Things are not good here in Utah, and so we need to be very careful and love each other a lot by wearing our masks all the time. I know it's a drag, but do it because we love you and we love each other so. And I want to thank all of those who participated in the mask contest. Reverend Myrna will be up here after Alan's talk to share the video of all the entries and to announce the winners, so stay tuned. And the opportunity to participate at a 50% discount in the annual February convention put on by Home Office, which is being held completely virtually this year, February 15th through 18th. That is ending this coming Saturday, so we need to hear from you by Thursday at noon if you want to get in on this great 50% off deal. The convention will be filled with great speakers, workshops, classes, music, so much more. All the information, including how to get the half-off price, is in the announcement sections on our website. So check it out, and please let us know right away if you want to participate. And as I do whenever I'm up here, I like to remind you that our center was founded on and is grounded in prayer. That helps us deal with whatever is going on in the world. Our professional prayer practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer, and they took all that training and are here to support you. So if there's anything going on with you, we invite you to please submit a prayer request. Let us know. So if you do that, all the practitioners will be in prayer for you this week. And if you would like someone to pray with you in person, just mention that in your prayer request, and one of the practitioners will give you a call and pray with you on the phone. So right now, I invite you all to settle in. Allow Farrell's reading and the centering music to take you to that sacred space within, and then Farrell will lead us in prayer.
Sometimes when I'm reading, like I'm reading a book, I have to go back and reread a paragraph that I've read before, and it's because the comprehension that happens in the brain isn't always tuned in, and so then you have to go back and read it again and again, maybe 2 or 3 times, and you go, oh, I get it. Well, the reading that I have today is one of those things that it's the core issue of what we're searching for and who we are and what we are. So I want you to think about this as I read it to you. Today I realize that the Spirit incarnated in me, God, as the only being constitutes the only reality I have. So my connection with God is the only reality I have. All the rest of this is an illusion. Today, I am opening my consciousness to a realization that the living Christ, the eternal offspring of the everlasting divine. I know that Spirit dwells in me, and I know that there is an invisible guide, a living presence within me at all times. I don't have to do it alone. With complete simplicity and directness, I recognize my divine center. There is one life in and through all. Life is. Consciously, I unify myself with the pure spirit in which I live, move, and have my being. I am strong with the strength of the all-vitalizing power of spirit. I am sustained by divine energy which flows through me as radiant health and vitality. Every atom of my being responds to the divine presence. I completely surrender myself to it. so right now, I know that there is one presence, one divine intelligence, one life, and we are all part of that life, and I recognize that and become one with that right here and right now. And I know that is true for everyone that is listening and here with us as well. I am grateful for this day and the elements outside that are providing us with much needed moisture. I'm grateful for the shift of seasons that give us new perspective. I'm grateful for the compassion of all who are opening their hearts to the oneness, the wholeness, and the energy of advancement and enlightenment and awakening. I'm grateful to be here with you in person and by way of video. I'm grateful for this community. And so I give thanks to the Creator. I give thanks and unite with you together as we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, Farrell. Umoja. Umoja is a Swahili word. They celebrate this concept of umoja during Kwanzaa, which happens between Christmas and New Year's in our culture. The principle of umoja is recognizing the self in community and celebrating that. It has been an awesome challenge for me to see the divine in every person. That's hard to admit sometimes. It's hard to see the divine in every situation. But I think rising to that challenge is what we're called to do, to make the world a better place, to make the world work for everyone, to building bridges that last. Let's sing together. I remind you to wear your masks when you sing. Take in this principle of umoja. We are one, individually with the divine and collectively with all of life, with all beings. We are one.
Would you join me in a conversation? I will do all I can to understand. Yes, we're different, but that doesn't have to scare us. I believe we stand on common ground. Umoja,
Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce our special music today. This young lady, you have to watch. She's an up-and-comer. It's incredible. She's been singing since she was 3 years old in front of audiences, and obviously charmed them, and you'll see why. She is one of the lead singers for the School of Rock. She writes her own music. She designs her own jewelry. She's just a magnificent presence at the very young age, 16, 17. Just a beautiful presence. Let's welcome Karuna Jain.
Hi guys, so my name is Karuna Jain. So I'm going to be singing 2 songs today. For my first song, I'm singing a song called Snowman by Sia. I really love this song because it talks about this girl who talks about this snowman. And to me, I feel like the snowman represents someone who hasn't had the best life, who's been broken with broken memories, has a cold heart. But the girl who sings this song, she's basically saying that no matter what, I will stick with you. And, we can build together and we can mend you. So I think this is a really powerful and inspiring song, and I wanted to sing it for you today. Don't cry, snowman, not in front of me. Who'll catch your tears if you can't catch me, darling? If you can't catch me, darling. Don't cry, snowman, don't leave me this way. A puddle of water can't hold me close, baby. Can't hold me close, baby. I want you to know that I'm never leaving, 'cause I miss the snow till death will be freezing. You are my home for all seasons. So come on, let's go below zero, but high from the sun. I love you forever, we'll have some fun. Let's dance with the North Pole, live happily. Please don't cry, no tears. It's Christmas, baby, my snowman and me. Hey. My snowman and me, baby. Baby. Don't cry, snowman, don't you fear the sun. Who carry me without legs to run, honey? Without legs to run, honey. Don't cry, snowman, don't you shed a tear. Who'll hear my secrets if you don't have ears, baby? If you don't have ears, baby. I want you to know that I'm never leaving, 'cause I miss the snow till death will be freezing. You are my home for all seasons. So come on, let's go beyond zero, high from the sun. I love you forever, we'll have some fun. Let's dance with the North Pole and live happily. Please don't cry, no tears. It's Christmas, baby, my snowman and me. Hey. My snowman and me, baby, baby. Thank you.
Wow. That was just awesome, and how appropriate for did you plan that before the weather happened? That's amazing. I just can't wait for this talk, because every time this man is up here, I learn so very much. So please join me and give me a warm, warm welcome to Rabbi Alan Bachman.
Thank you. I have to take my mask off But really, in some ways, my mask is not really off. And that's what we'll talk about today, because even before this pandemic, we've all been wearing masks. In many ways, God wears a mask too. And that relates to building bridges. It also relates to building bridges is learning how to use one of these so we can even get through the talk. So if we're going to build bridges at last, first thing we have to do is build a bridge with the divine. People use the word God. There's lots of names we could use on this. And so that's there. And I made these slides mainly, not so much for the talk, but so you'd have this as a record to look at later, because some of the things I get into here, you may not fully understand them today as much as you may later when you look at it again. But when you think about it, what is the divine? The divine is the ultimate bridge. It's whatever connects every single particle, aspect of the entire universe, whatever goes through everything. That to me is at least one of the definitions of what divinity is. It's omnipresent, it's everywhere, it's in me, it's in this microphone. I remember I was in a car once with a gentleman, and we were quite young, and I think I was sort of sacrilegious. He was a very fundamentalist type Christian, and I mentioned God was in the French fries. It turned out that wasn't the best way to put it at the time, but it's true, because God's in everything. So when you won't go to explain that to somebody else, you might not use my French fry example. So I advise that. So, we have to learn how to connect up with the divine. And Science of Mind has a formula for that that's used in your spiritual mind treatment, a 5-step, so to speak: recognition of the infinite God, understanding there is one, frankly, so this loving God, unifying with that infinite spirit, a realization of, really, you have what you want, and recognizing what you want, and it is there, really right in front of your eyes. And then, of course, being thankful and grateful and joyful. And that's why I got that note there about Reb Nachman on there, so you can see that slide later when this gets posted. Reb Nachman was a great rabbi from, I guess we'd say, the very early 19th century, early 1800s. And he suffered a lot. He wrote a lot about joy, and he said one of the greatest things you can do is, if you're in a dance circle, you find somebody out of the dance circle, you grab that person, you bring them into the dance circle, and they start dancing around with you in a circle. Before you know it, that person who may have been sort of sad is happy. So this is sort of the fake it until you make it. So even if you don't feel thankful or joyful any particular moment, it's okay. Try to do something that gets you into that space, because it really isn't good to spend the entire day feeling down. And then, of course, the release and letting it go is the last part of the spiritual mind treatment, and that's also a very important part. But we're going to focus on the first parts here. We're going to talk a lot about the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, especially if I get the slide there. As you know, in every novel, whether it's Moby Dick or any other famous novels, somebody changes. So who changes in the Hebrew Bible? Is it Moses? Is it Abraham? Is it Sarah? Who really changes? It's God. God changed. And how did God change? How did the above change? The below. We talked about that last time. How God said, because of the words you said, Moses, I am going to forgive the people. The below changed the above. So, that's interesting, that God can change, and that's probably a good reason why it is worth praying. Because even if there is a particular destiny you think that might happen, we can alter it. We're not victims. So let's look at what we call God in the Hebrew Bible and building bridges. Because really, the Hebrew Bible is all about relationships. It's all about building a bridge. So let's look at the beginning here. Bereshit, what you call Genesis. It's an interesting word. It's beyond the scope for today. Someday I might talk just about the first word of the Hebrew Scriptures. We could spend a whole session just on that. But with beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Then what does it say? Well, the earth was void. Nothing on the earth really. Dark, right? But then it's interesting that it says that the Spirit of God, the Ruach HaElohim, the Spirit of God, hovered over the face of the waters. I didn't know waters had a face, but in this case, waters do. And then God says, let there be light. So what do you think happens here? So imagine, what was the first mirror in society where you could see yourself? It was water. Somebody walked by a body of water, and they noticed that when they moved their arm was moving in the water. Right? So that's the first mirror. So here's God hovering over the face of the water and says, let there be light, and there's light. God says that's good. Well, what does God see in the water? You could come up with a lot of ideas. Maybe nothing. Maybe God says, whoa, there's nothing to me. Or maybe God sees an image. Not long after that, God creates Adam in God's image. But I think that's interesting because there's no real relationship there at the beginning. When God looks in the water and God sees God, whatever God saw, I think that's very fascinating, especially because we want to contrast it now with the end of the Torah. At the end of Deuteronomy, we have now a relationship, God and Moses. And boy, did they have a relationship. They didn't always get along, really. I mean, Moses argued a lot with God. Spoke truth to power. And as I said, Moses even changed God. And at the end of the Torah, it says there hasn't arisen a prophet in Israel like Moses. This is the important part. Who God knew panim al panim. Once again, beyond the scope of today, but that can be a plural word, faces to faces. But the point is, unlike the beginning, where God just sees the face of God in the water, at the end of the Torah, God sees the face of Moses. Moses sees the face of God. Moses knows so much at this instant, seeing the face of God, that Moses can no longer be part of the earthly world. It even says there that Moses then died, but it makes a point that Moses' body was just fine. Moses didn't die a so-called natural death. Moses knew what would happen in the future, and Moses had to be taken from earth so the people could go through all the motions they need to go through in order to grow up, so to speak. Almost like a parent getting out of the way of a child at times. Because if you do everything for that child, will that child grow up? And of course, there's always a balance there. But the point is, it ends with a relationship. It ends with that bridge being built. So the question is, do you see that relationships are so critical in the Hebrew Torah? How do we develop these? So I have my own formula, which comes from a verse in Proverbs, and I interpret it my own way. And I say that these words, understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, which are mentioned there, that it's understanding and knowledge that makes wisdom. That knowledge is just not enough. So if I hear things about Muslim people, and I say, hey, I want to know all there is about Muslim people, so I am going to go to the library. Okay, I could spend hours in the library, weeks in the library, years in the library. Will I have wisdom about Muslim people? No. I might gather some knowledge. I might know like the number of people who consider themselves part of the Muslim faith, perhaps some of the countries people identify Muslim live with. But really, to get the understanding, you have to meet somebody who calls himself a Muslim. And frankly, you couldn't even extract that to all Muslim people. You'd still have to meet a whole lot, and even then you couldn't extract it. But at least you'd have a higher level than just being in the library. So understanding, you have to develop a personal relationship. When you have knowledge in that personal relationship, you get more to that level of wisdom. So that's why it's so important in interfaith relations if we're going to develop bridges with each other, we can't just do it by going to libraries and studying about other faiths. We got to hang around them. If we want to get rid of racism, understand people of other races, you just can't go and read about it. You got to meet people of other races. You got to break bread with people of other races. You got to bring people into your life with diversity. So back to the God reason for this. Perhaps the heaviest prayer. It's really not a prayer. It's more of a statement or a pledge of allegiance in Judaism. Comes from Deuteronomy. It's called the Shema. We're supposed to say this every morning and every night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And it goes on. Misinterpreted, by the way. You shall love this God with all your heart, all your soul, and with everything you have. It's not the word might, by the way. It's moedecha. Moed is everything. So everything you got goes towards this. But this is a oneness. And so every morning and night we have this oneness. We're supposed to put it as a sign on our hand and on our forehead, on the doorposts. Notice it's plural, doorposts. Every time you go by a doorpost, every room of your house, you have this mezuzah on there with the Shema in it. Why? Because we are a forgetful people. And that's why it's good to have symbols. I'm wearing this tallis, I'm wearing this hat. These are symbols. If I wear these, maybe I'm more inclined to think about, whoa, I better think about the center, about how I'm connected with this God. Other people wear garments. Some people wear jewelry, amulets. It's good to have symbols. And it's an irony, but we have to not only recognize there's one God, but we have to remember it all the time. And we have to remember, and here's the irony, that we're a forgetful people. So we have to remember that it's easy for us to forget. Boy, that's a tough one. And so we get distracted very easily. It's a very distracting world. And sometimes we forget about this oneness that is really there. But that oneness is important in order to build bridges with each other. Okay, so let's get into the deep, deep part. So I'll share a secret. Probably many of you have not even heard of this. Pardes. Who's heard of Pardes? If you had, do a cartwheel throughout the room. Okay, so I don't see anybody doing a cartwheel throughout the room, so that means nobody knows about Pardes. Okay, that's not really a fair assumption. I made it a difficult test. But Pardes is an acronym of 4 letters, and it means orchard in Hebrew. It comes from a Persian word, and an English word for it could be paradise. So Pardes might be sort of difficult to remember, but paradise, maybe not as hard to remember. Okay, so think of the word paradise, and the P, the R, the D, and the S. The P stands for the Hebrew word Peshat. Okay, and I'm going to have a slide on showing that word in Hebrew, a little bit of English that might be hard to read there. But the Peshat, this is the surface. Okay, this is the mask that we all wear. It's like I see a lot of you out there wearing masks, but I don't really see all of you. So I shouldn't probably make an assumption about what your mouth looks like. Maybe you all have mustaches and I don't even know it. Okay, but the Peshat is basically the surface of the scripture. Okay, and I'm teaching here, this is a method of discerning scripture. But why am I teaching this today? Because it's also a method of discerning people. We all have this face, this Peshat, this surface, and the surface can fool you. A parent, and that we got to be aware of these layers. A parent might be with a child, and the child says, I hate you. I can't stand you. I hate you so much. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And that goes on day after day, day after day. Okay, does the child hate the parent? Maybe not. That's the Peshat statement. And this is so important, whether we are working as individuals building bridges, if we're really going to listen to each other and build the bridge, deep listening, don't be fooled by the Peshat. At this point, I'd probably play the Who's We Won't Be Fooled Again, but we don't have time to play the whole song, so just think it through it in your head. So that's the surface layer, right? And then below that surface layer in Pardes, or paradise, is the word remez for the R, which I'm hoping to pull up on this. Okay, there it is. Remez. Okay, this is a hint. When it comes to Scripture, Hebrew Scripture, all the Hebrew letters are not only a letter, but they're also a number. So this makes the Hebrew Bible pretty interesting. So you're not only reading a bunch of letters, you're reading a bunch of numbers. And sometimes what those numbers add up hint to something. One word might have the same number as another word and might be telling you there's a connection there. But there's all ways we give hints to people, like don't fall for this one, okay? Being a guy, I've fallen for this in the past, Your spouse comes up to you and says, don't worry about Valentine's Day. Don't worry about it. You don't have to get me a card. You don't have to get me anything. Okay, how many people have fallen for that Peshat? That face, that surface, right? It's really a hint. It's really a remez, like, I'm really hoping you'll do this, even though I told you I really don't want you to. And then when you do, I'll be so excited. Okay, so don't be fooled by the surface. Okay, sometimes there's a remez. And then we can go down deeper, okay, into the drash. Okay, so I said paradise, P, the R, the D. The D stands for drash. I'll give you an example of drash in the Torah. This is something that fills in a gap. There's just something not there. One famous example, I guess, in the Torah, if you look at it carefully, Abraham and Isaac go up the mountain because Isaac's going to be sacrificed. Boy, is Isaac thrilled. No, not really. Probably not thrilled. But he goes up there with Abraham. But then you got to read further. Who comes down the mountain? Abraham comes down the mountain, but Isaac does not. He's not mentioned. And the next thing you know, Isaac is showing up in a field filled with light. That's the next time Isaac appears in the Hebrew Scripture. So what happens in between? Well, people have written what we call drashes on this, commentaries, Some say that happened. Yitzhak went back to visit Adam and Eve. Or Shem, Noah's son. He went to some special school, to learn things. You could come up with all sorts of things. And this happens with people too. Sometimes there's just a hole and a gap. How are you going to fill it in? Are we going to assume the worst? Are we going to assume the best? Sometimes the gap is there. And then on the deepest level, boy, if you're really deep listening, you might find out somebody sowed their secret. Pardes, P-A-R-D-E-S, paradise. This is the S in paradise, the sowed, the secret. This is the deepest level. This might be mystical. This might come to you in your sleep, in your dreams. So this is the deepest level. But for now, I think, it's important to at least recognize that there are layers. There are layers to people. So I met this one person once. Really nice guy. Told me a joke. Okay, that's okay. You run into somebody, they tell you a joke. Then the person told me another joke. Then the person told me another joke. This went on for like 20 minutes, one joke after another, when I just met this person. No, like, hello, how are you? Tell me about yourself. It was just one joke after another. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, the Peshat here, the surface here, is this person's telling me a lot of jokes, okay? How am I going to develop a relationship with this person? What is really going on inside this person? So finally I looked at him, and this came out of nowhere, it might have been an insight or something, but I thought of this, went into my head, and I said to him, are you lonely? And all of a sudden he cried his eyes out. And then he told me a story about his loneliness and about people in his family that don't talk to him and how he's all alone. And he cried and he cried and he cried. What a shift from all that joking around, right? Deep listening. Did I get to the deepest levels? Maybe not. But I think I got below the surface. And this happens with each one of us. As we build these bridges, we must think about getting below that surface. So even God, even God wears a mask and hides a face. Deuteronomy 31:18, God says, I'm going to hide my face. Well, at least God was honest about it. Because if you're going to turn to other gods, you're not going to see me so clearly. Well, of course, that's really true. if you think that getting a whole lot of money, that becomes your God in life, you're not going to see the real God, that real force that's inside of everybody, if you're worshiping something other than that force that really connects all of us. That face will not be seen. So we got to be careful about that. So I'll end this up because really we just had Jews around the world just read the story of Noah, which occurs after last week, before last Saturday, so about 8 days ago, we read about in the beginning of Genesis. We see in the beginning that God, created the universe, of course, and created people, and that God said, I'm going to create, and actually it says, create a person, Adam, in our image. Interesting, the word our. Maybe will be a whole discussion some other time. But the point is, this first person who was male and female was created in the image of God. Well, that's great. But and then it says 7 times in this first chapter of the Torah that God says, that's good, that's good, that's good. Well, something could be good for you. Maybe you created a nice painting and you look at it and go, hey, that's nice, it's really good. Okay, that's one level. But then what happens in the story of Noah? In the story of Noah, it starts out really where people might think, hey, I'm really special. I'm connected with God. I'm created in God's image. But what are they forgetting? That their neighbor, the other people, the other living things, they also have a connection with God. And other people are also created in God's image. So this shifts. So God, now when it comes to the story of Noah, God is saying that you should not kill somebody else because that other person is created in the image of God. Okay, so that's a little different from what happened in the chapter before when God is just creating the first person is saying, you're created in my image. Now God is saying, oh, by the way, other people are created in my image too. Oh, wow, that's pretty important to remember. And so God then makes a covenant not to have that flood again. What's interesting in Noah, this is in chapter 9, God does just not make the covenant with people. God even makes the covenant with the animals. And this is in 9:10. Well, I'll start with 9:9. And behold, I am setting my covenant with you and with your seed after you. Then interesting, go to 10. And with every living creature that is with you. Wow, a covenant with the animals too. That's something for us to think about. And then God creates a sign of this covenant. And of course, if you're going to create a sign for the covenant for the animals and the people, you got to go something beyond, maybe the type of covenants that are described later. So a rainbow forms. I guess everybody could see that rainbow or experience it, people and animals. So that becomes the symbol for it. So we're all connected, and that bridge is built. And then once again, I say that relates to this mask. We put on this mask. What are we saying? Just I love me? No, many times a mask really doesn't protect you. It protects the other person. But if we enter into a covenant to each other, we all recognize we're all created in the image of God and we're all worthy, then we all enter into covenant with each other to wear masks so we are all protected. And that creates a society that is different than the society that existed at the time of Noah. And the society that we're all trying to reach to where everybody truly does care and love each other. So that's why we want to build these bridges. We want to really get to know each other. We don't want to be fooled by the Peshat, by the face, by the surface. We really need to get together in person with other people. We really need to study the animals, the earth, really get to know the complete environment, not just from a book, but by experience. And by building all these bridges, we can make a better world for everybody. We'll all benefit from it, just like we all benefit from wearing masks. So that's really the essence of this, and I leave this on the website so you can think about this Pardes, this Peshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod, this four aspect of scriptures, and see how you see this in people you love and know, and then other people as you meet, so you're not so easily fooled. So with that, I'm going to end with a special prayer, using the 5 steps from Science of Mind. And I'll tell you a little secret. That's also a cue for the band to get in position. So you see them walking up here as we go through this. So see, we have many different levels going on here. And we don't have to look down necessarily. I might be looking down because it's on my paper, but really God is up there, sideways, down, in all different directions. Many Jews, they actually pray, looking up. And some people do it looking down. It's all good because God's everywhere. We must recognize that there is this infinite God that's everywhere, omnipresent, ever-loving, so much abundant love that we can't even comprehend that much love. And it's a credible amount of love. We unite with this infinite love that's throughout the entire universe. And we realize that with this infinite love throughout the universe, that we can really realize that we can really have what we want. We can get over COVID together. We can do it together through the actions that we do. We can get through anything that we face. That there will be a day when all is healed, when everything got along on Noah's ark, even animals and people got along on that ark, everything got along on the 7th day of creation. And that day will come back again, and it's up to us to make that day happen. And we realize that with our connection with the infinite, that we don't need any more power than the power that created the universe to have what we truly, really, really want. And thank God for all of this. We are so grateful. We are joyful. When we realize this connection, we have an excitement that comes from our head all the way down to our toes. We can feel it throughout our entire body, this essence of joy in this very moment. This could be the moment of our entire life. For if we ever think that it's another moment, maybe we'll never really experience it. So we're going to experience it right now in this moment. And as we know and feel and understand that all can be accomplished, our destiny of love and peace for all people, all sentient beings, even the rocks, the stones, the living earth itself, that this is happening. This is happening. And knowing that this is so, we don't have to be pushing it away by continually worrying about it. At some point we have to release it. Now we release it, we let it go, knowing full well that this will be. And so it is. Take a deep cleansing breath. Many blessings to all of you, dear people. Keep on going here. It's a beautiful place. Everything here is incredibly beautiful. Thank you so much for honoring me by letting me speak to all of you that are so wonderful. Thank you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am
We are so very blessed with wonderful people like Rabbi Allen to share their joy and wisdom with us. Thank you so much. So this is the time in our service of our conscious giving, which here in our center is one of our spiritual practices. It's something that we do for our own spiritual health and well-being. We recognize that blessings have come to us as part of the divine flow of good, and in gratitude for that, we keep the flow going by sharing what we have with our spiritual center so that it might continue to bless us and to remind us of the truth of who we are. We know that some of you are struggling with what's happened with COVID, and we certainly understand that. Please know for the rest of you that your continued giving helps to make these services possible and allows us to keep the doors open. So thank you so very, very much for supporting this ministry. So if you are here with us, an usher will come around with a basket, and you can share that way or use the text give, which is on your screen. And so in the spirit of gratitude right now, I invite you to bring your gift into your mind, your hand, or your heart as we say together our giving affirmation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be. And so it is. And today we're going to do, I was like waiting for the song, and then I realized, wait, we're not doing this song today, All That I Need, because we're doing something special. Reverend Myrna is going to be up here in just a minute to share the pictures of all the people who submitted pictures, and she also was here taking pictures, I have to say, last week. And we're going to look at all those masks that people have created, and then she's got prizes. So please welcome Reverend Myrna.
Now we move from the sublime to the ridiculous. Because, you know, we've all heard that cleanliness is next to godliness, and I believe that silliness is also next to godliness. Silliness is next to godliness. First, can I say, these are the best symbol of compassion that I could possibly imagine. Think about that. When you put this on, what is it that you're doing? You're saying, I honor you for who you are. And I can love you without infecting you. Life is good. So we've got to look at these things. I think I've got I don't know where the thing is. There it is. Is that it? No. The other one. This one? That one. Okay. I think it's that one, right? Could be. So we didn't have a lot of people, but I got to tell you, the masks are spectacular. So everybody's going to win a prize. Let's look at these. Our favorite rainbow. Do you know Chuck and Chad? Aren't they wonderful people? God bless them. Reverend Jan Ewing. Oh, Reverend Jan, thank you, my dear, for sharing yourself with us in that way. And my favorite, tell me that laughter is not the best medicine. Thank you, Linda, for reminding us. And my favorite space ball. He's got the same mask on today. Thank you, Drew. I think this is the bestest list. No, here we go. There's Susie. Good old Sue. Stars and Stripes. We need to remember this a lot more than we do, I think. Thank you, everyone, for playing with me with this. It's been more fun than humans ought to have. Everybody wins a prize. And the prize, by the way, the best prize of all that I could possibly imagine, a bag of Halloween candy. And so it is.
We're going to hear now again from Karuna Jain. Let's give her a round of applause, and here's her wonderful work. Karuna Jain.
Hi Hey guys, okay, so this next song is an original song that I wrote, produced, composed, and sang. I released it in pretty much on all platforms, and I created a karaoke version. That way I can sing it live for you guys here today. The song, I wrote it after watching this show that was very gang-based. There was like a lot of gangs, and what I realized was that these gang leaders were taking advantage of these people who didn't feel safe. They were looking to these gang leaders for support, but it would threaten their lives ultimately, and I thought that it was a really terrible thing, so I decided to write a song about it called Mr. Tough Guy. And at the end of the song, you'll notice that I repeat Mr. Tough Guy, not so tough guy, not so tough guy. And the song's about standing up to these figures. It so happened that the Black Lives Matter movement came along after I finished writing the song. And so I decided it would be the perfect time to release it because we could also relate this song to things that were happening in our world and telling people to stand up with your voice and not let things happen that you don't want to. So I hope you guys enjoy this song, and yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't hear you. Turn it up now.
You know you a god, then they worship, trying to take them down, they don't deserve it. And when your world is in deep shit, gonna drive them down off of a cliff. You know you a god, then they worship, trying to take them down, they don't deserve it. What do you think will happen if they cut you down? You'll be drowning, gonna drag them down, 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 down. Down, 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 drag 'em down. But you better run, 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 'cause they coming round. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you think that you got everything in your hands, but it's slipping away. We're gonna show who you really are behind the big boy suit and mask face. You think you got the world in hands, yeah. Giving young kids another chance, yeah. About winning and not the good feelings. About taking and never ever giving. Don't care if you tear them apart. Won't hit you back like a dart. 'Cause they're scared, they're lost, they're lonely. Thinking you'll come shoot up the party. But there's no party without you, mate, right? Or else you make a storm for a fight. Narcissistic, lunatic, a drug addict. Gotta get your paper with a biz at it. Spiral down when others got high hopes. If you drag them down, it's how you cope. Think you're tough now, Mr. Big Guy? Well, suit up, 'cause now we're calling the fight. You think that you got everything in your hands, but it's slipping away. We're gonna show 'em who you really are behind the big boy suit and mask face. But you better run, 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 'cause they're coming around. You know you're a god, then they worship, trying to take them down, they don't deserve it. And when your world is in deep shit, you're gonna drag them down off of a cliff. You know you're a god, then they worship, trying to take them down, they don't deserve it. What do you think will happen if they cut you down? You'll be drowning, ain't gonna drag them down, 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 drag 'em down. But you better run, 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 'cause they coming round. You think that you got everything in your hands, but it's slipping away. We're gonna show 'em who nice face.
Nice face.
Really, really, you got him feeling quizzy, you got him feeling dizzy. Really, really, really easy, right? Taking power like you on every tower. Your presence really sour, you turn off every single eye. Listen up, every pessimist, antagonist, destructionist, discriminant, racist, sexist.
Homophobic, negaphobic, narcissistic, overcritic, egotistic, abusive. Listen up, you
Gotta fix it.
Authority should not be misused. So it's time
That we stand up.
and we don't let these narcissistic figures bring us down any longer.
You think that you got everything in your hands, but slipping away. We're gonna show 'em who you really are behind the big boy still man's face. Down, 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 drag 'em down. You know you're a god that they worship, trying to take 'em down, they don't deserve it. And when your world is in deep shit, you're gonna drop 'em down off of a cliff. You know you're a god that they worship, trying to take 'em down, they don't deserve it. What do you think will happen if they cut you down? You'll be drowning.
Not so tough guy.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Very, very great. Power, wisdom out of the mouth of babes. Awesome. Thank you, Ellen Bachman. Rabbi Ellen, what a wonderful message. I actually felt like I got wise just sitting in the chair, but I know I had to take those things to heart, and what a timely, beautiful message. And I have to say, having a rabbi come and take a piece of our philosophy and offer a prayer, a spiritual mind treatment from that perspective, that was so respectful and so beautiful, and we're honored by your presence. That was really just a beautiful thing to do. You've been such a great longtime friend of the center, and I so value that. Thank you. Thank you for visiting us today and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you, Karuna, for some marvelous music. Thanks to all of you for joining us here in person and online. Thank you for wearing your masks, being responsible, considerate of others. We're going to tackle this thing. It'll happen. Join the chat at 1 o'clock with Reverend Myrna. Stay connected. We love you. Let's sing together this great closing song, Let's Work Together, featuring a buddy of mine here, Rory Norseth, on lead guitar. All right, let's work together. I invite you to stand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Talk, doesn't he? Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Together we stand, divided we fall, yeah. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we stand, every boy, girl, woman, every man. Before things go wrong, is there sometimes, well, the roads that we travel seem all uphill. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we stand, every boy, girl, woman, every man. because together we stand. Every boy, every woman, every man.
Mr. Rory Norset.
Well, now make someone happy, make someone smile. Let's all work together and make life worthwhile. Let's get together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we stand. Every boy, girl, woman, every man. Oh, well, now, come on, all you people, walk hand in hand. Let's make this world a good place to stand. Let's work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we stand. Every boy, girl, woman, every man.
Take it out, Rory.
Yeah, together we stand. Every boy, girl, woman, every man.